What's happening, everybody? Plenty, I'm sure, to discuss with less than 24 hours ahead of Week 11. Taking your questions, helping sorting out your starting lineup. With just three, in all likelihood, depending on your league format, structure, size, all that good stuff. For the vast majority of leagues, we've probably got about 3 weeks left until the fantasy playoffs. Hopefully, many of you are in good shape or at least fighting for a spot. Critical weeks. You know, if you're sitting at 5 or 6 wins, you probably need at least one more to get into the playoffs. If you're sitting at maybe 4 wins, you're going to need a couple and maybe some help. But it's crunch time. It's go time. As we gear up and get ready for the fantasy postseason. Couple of quick notes, and then I will start to get into your questions. Let's see. The latest injury updates that I have. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin ruled out Week 11. That's no surprise. Rachaad White will continue to operate as the lead back in a good matchup against Buffalo. Emeka Egbuka will handle all of the opportunities he can. Tez Johnson is on the flex radar. Rico Dowdle will off the injury report, good to go as an RB1 against Atlanta. Oronde Gadsden, Chargers tight end, not on the injury report for Week 11. He's a top 6 tight end tomorrow against Jacksonville. Quentin Johnston listed questionable. I think he's expected to play. Lamar Jackson, good to go. Drake London, questionable for Week 11 with an illness and a back injury. I haven't seen that he's actually in any danger of missing the game. Darius Slayton listed out for Week 11. Wan'Dale Robinson will probably see a bump in opportunities, as will Theo Johnson. Perfectly fine streaming options with Jameis Winston at quarterback, as is the Green Bay Packers defense. Josh Plummer off the injury report for Week 11, as is Khalil Shakir. So Josh Allen has his, overall not very exciting, but still complement of wide receivers. He will not have Dalton Kincaid this week. He is out with the hamstring injury. Dawson Knox probably has streaming appeal in deeper leagues, but probably at least 14-team leagues. Isaiah Pacheco out for Week 11. He may miss a little bit more time here. Kareem Hunt will operate as the lead back once again in a tough matchup against Denver. You're pretty much hoping that he falls into the end zone. Brian Thomas listed questionable for Week 11. I'm not dying to go back to Brian Thomas in your starting lineup, but depending on your other options, you may have to. You may not have another choice or a better choice. Brenton Strange listed out for Week 11. Parker Washington off the injury report for Week 11. I believe he was a midweek injury add with a hamstring injury. At least he's off the injury report, so you can trust him with a little bit more wide receiver 3 appeal this week. Romeo Doubs off the injury report for Week 11. This is a great matchup for him against the New York Giants. I think him and Christian Watson are both on the wide receiver 3 radar with upside given the matchup. Rashad Bateman, Justice Hill, both out for the Ravens Week 11. So in a tough matchup against Cleveland, Lamar down a couple of pieces, his deep threat and his third down back. Sam Laporta, I just made a short about this. Not only is he out tomorrow night on Sunday Night Football, he has been placed on injured reserve. He will miss at least the next 4 games with this back injury that is more serious than I think anybody anticipated or realized. I'm not going to really advocate for Brock Wright. I think it's just going to be a more consolidated opportunity and target share for Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, and to some extent Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe even David Montgomery. They're just going to continue to funnel work to their high-end talent, especially in a massive game, pretty much like with the conference, the number 1 seed very much in play against the Eagles. They're going to lean on their top guys. Let's see. Dalton Schultz is good to go for Week 11. He's been playing well. Caught a touchdown from Davis Mills last week. Davis Mills will be starting for the second straight week. C.J. Stroud continuing to recover from the concussion. Let's see what else we got. Oh, J.K. Dobbins. Oof. Not only on injured reserve, but it's possible that this injury sidelines J.K. Dobbins for the remainder of the season. That, according to a report from Adam Schefter. Brutal break for Dobbins. I hate to say it, but I feel like we say it every year. Dobbins missing significant time and or, if not an outright season-ending injury, it looks like he's headed toward a similar fate this year. I think he requires surgery. Going to be an extended absence. Obviously, hope nothing but the best for Dobbins, but season-ending injuries are something he's quite familiar with, unfortunately. Marvin Mims off the injury report for Week 11. Okay. And I think that's all of the big updates for injury updates and or availability. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on the latest injury updates, and then if there are any others, we'll be sure to report them. And can start taking your questions. Okay, let's get into it. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you are here for the first time, welcome in. I'm streaming on multiple platforms, desktop and mobile on YouTube. They are two separate streams, so different questions may be coming in from both of them. You may not see all questions in your specific chat. I am also streaming on Twitch. Hello to my friends on Twitch, anybody who's following on Twitch. There will also be questions coming from over there, so you may not see all questions come into your specific chat room, but I will make sure to highlight them as I get them so that everybody can see them. Members will get first priority responses to their questions and comments. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. It does not matter when a member sends in a question. It could come after somebody else, a non-member, has been waiting for 20 minutes. I will get to the member questions first. You can find more details about becoming a member in the first link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. You will get fast-tracked responses to your questions if you sign up. You can also send a super if you are feeling generous enough. That would also be a way to jump the line and get your question answered out of order. If you are not a member and you do not send a super, I will get to your question, but I do ask for some patience. I have to get to the paying customers first. But I appreciate everybody being in here, coming in, hanging out. If you are enjoying the conversation, whether you're a member or not, if you could just like the stream, however you're watching, wherever you're viewing from, that helps me out for algorithm purposes. Appreciate that in advance. I see, as far as my members, I see Greg, I see Nino, I see E111. And I think that's everyone that I see now. Let's get into it. Yeah, Greg, I think in redraft formats, if you don't have an IR spot, J.K. Dobbins can be dropped. It sounds like he's not going to come back this season. Let me double-check the report from Adam Schefter, or the tweet from Adam Schefter at the very least. Let's see. But I'm pretty sure he said it's pretty much likely he's out for the rest of the year. Dobbins' foot injury will require surgery and likely end his season. He could be ready in February if the Broncos make the Super Bowl. Yeah, in redraft formats, that pretty much seals the deal. J.K. Dobbins can comfortably, sadly, unfortunately, he can be dropped. You can move on from J.K. Dobbins. If there's not an obvious name that you're looking at on the waiver wire that you can pick up, Tyler Bidet, Jaleel McLaughlin, these are the guys that obviously are next man up. Behind R.J. Harvey, who obviously sees a significant boost in opportunity for the rest of the season. And then, of course, Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet will mix in as well. So if you do have J.K. Dobbins like Greg, we can sort out potential pickups because it sounds like he can comfortably be dropped. I will start with Nino's question. That's the first one that I see, and then I'll get to Greg's. Start one wide receiver and two flex. And also, this isn't just for Nino, but this is for everybody. The more context that you can provide to your question, the faster that I can get to you. What's your scoring? What's your margin for error? Are you a big favorite? Is it a 50-50 match? Are you an underdog? Do you feel like you need upside? Do you feel like you can play it safe? Scoring settings and situational information is super helpful as it pertains to your specific situation. My answer, similar names may be provided among two different questions. That doesn't necessarily mean my answer will be the same or very similar for both. Situation matters, context matters, scoring matters. That's for everybody. And you have big play bonus, like something like that. Like Nino lets me know, like there's a big play bonus available in his league. So that's like a nice little, just an extra tidbit to have to work with. Myers against the Chargers, Higgins against the Titans, Tez against the Bills, Harvey against the Chiefs, Algier against the Panthers, Hunt against the Broncos. I would probably play... I'm definitely playing Harvey. I'm definitely playing Harvey in an expanded opportunity with no, with no J.K. Dobbins. It's not a great matchup, but, in theory, he should get all of the opportunities. And then between Hunt, Algier's in a pretty good matchup against the Panthers. But, he's always somewhat volatile just because he's not the starter. I would probably play Hunt and Harvey, Nino, as your two flex spots. And then as far as your wide receivers, Jacoby was pretty solidly involved last week. Tez is in a favorable matchup against the Bills, and it could be a shootout. I like Jaden Higgins, but he's less trustworthy week to week. I will say your wide receiver. I'll say Tez, Nino. Better quarterback play, Baker Mayfield. More opportunity. No Chris Godwin. No Mike Evans. I'll say Tez as your wide receiver, and then Harvey and Hunt as your two flex options. Do I like Chris Rodriguez, Spears, or Sean Tucker? Tajay Spears as a pickup. He's got the, I think he's got the closest opportunity to that, to more he's the closest to more opportunities of the options that you named. Just because Tony Pollard has been kind of lackluster. Spears gives them a boost. He gives them a burst. He gives them big play upside. I would say Tajay Spears. Tucker is the backup to the backup. It sounds like Bucky Irving is getting close. Rachaad White is still a hold, especially if you have Bucky Irving. But Tucker, once Bucky comes back, Tucker goes back to being on the waiver wire. I think Spears is the guy that I would most want to roster of those names, Greg. And then you're Woody, well, you're playing Nico. That's obvious. He never needs to be in start-sit questions. Nico is in your starting lineup. I know, you drafted him high. He could be up and down, but he's talented. You got to play him. And then I would probably play Woody against the Titans. It's just a really good matchup. You need a second wide receiver. So it's like between Tez and Franklin. I would probably go Franklin. It feels like he's been operating as the Broncos wide receiver 1 recently over Courtland Sutton. And they're at home. It's not a great matchup, but it is a big matchup, division matchup. So I'll take Franklin. Nico, Franklin as your 2 wide receivers, Woody as an RB2. And then probably between Aaron Jones and Debo as your flex. I'll take Aaron Jones. Decent matchup against the Bears. And it looks like he was handling most of the opportunities last week way ahead of Jordan Mason while healthy. Yeah. Nico, Franklin, and then Woody, Aaron Jones. Yeah, that's what I would do. Nico, Franklin, Woody, Aaron Jones. That's where I would go. What's going on, Jake? Good to see you. Can you move Dart or Burrow to upgrade your running back? Of course. if you can make it happen, then at the very least, toss the feelers out there, send out offers if you feel like, if you want to move off of one of these guys. I don't know who your starting quarterback is now because you're not playing either one this week. They're both out. Achane, Henderson, Harvey, Vidal, Charbonnet is solid, but Vidal may be losing some value in a couple of weeks if Amari and Hampton is on track to return in Week 13, which has been the most recent reports. So you could definitely use like another running back in this. And honestly, you could fire Vidal in a trade as well to try to get somebody who has a little bit more value for the rest of the season after Hampton comes back and likely kills some of Vidal's value, if not all of it, eventually. So, sure, see who needs a quarterback, or if there's anybody in your league who's hurting at quarterback and wants to stash one of these two guys for when they return and can give you something. You may not get much for a quarterback if it's not a super flex league and both guys are unavailable, but sure, you can try. You can try. And Dobbins full drop. Complete drop. Let's see. Just working through member questions first. 1 wide receiver, 2 flex. Brian Thomas, Judy, Johnston, Tucker, Bill, DeMercado. I would play Brian Thomas. He's been disappointing this year, but I think he's just based on expectations, he's a talent level tier break compared to some of these other names. So I would play Brian Thomas. That's Trey Tucker. Sorry, I thought Sean Tucker. That's Trey Tucker because it's Dallas. Trey Tucker's in a decent spot. That is a good matchup. So that might be one of my other 2 flexes. I don't really trust Judy. I know he caught the touchdown last week. I don't know that I necessarily want to chase that. I like Quentin Johnston. It's a solid matchup for him. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has become impossible to trust, even in a good matchup. I don't want to play him. DeMercado doesn't really get me that excited. I would play those 3 wide receivers not named Jerry Jeudy. I would play Brian Thomas because I think he's the best player here, even though he's been disappointing. I will play Quentin Johnston for the big play upside in a solid matchup against Jacksonville. And I will play Trey Tucker, probably operating as the Raiders wide receiver 1, maybe for the rest of the season in a good matchup by the numbers against the Cowboys. I don't really want to play those running backs, and I don't want to play Jeudy. I'm not chasing the Jeudy touchdown from last week. Greg, I didn't realize you're 7-3. Nice. That's well done. So you're in good shape for the playoffs. But obviously, now there needs some tinkering with your roster just because you've got some banged-up guys, some injured dudes. Dobbins obviously can be completely dropped outright. But well done with the good record. A.J. Brown or J-Mo? This is a fascinating question. The matchup is favorable for A.J. Brown, who I know has been really disappointing. J-Mo gets a boost because Sam Laporta is not only out for this game, but out for at least the next 4 games. So J-Mo's looking good as far as like increased value and opportunities, probably for the rest of the season, because by the time Laporta comes back, it's the fantasy playoffs. So J-Mo has some big-time rest-of-season value. It is a tougher matchup against the Eagles, but this is a big-time, prime-time matchup. I think because these two are going against each other, and we're kind of talking about A.J. Brown at his floor versus J-Mo potentially at his ceiling, I'm inclined to say A.J. Brown. And again, I know he's been awful by expectations, generally speaking, but, you know, it feels like at home cooking. He was on the Twitch stream earlier this week telling fantasy people to drop him. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like some I don't know if it's conspiracy theory or not like that, but like just kind of reverse psychology. That's the phrase or term I was looking for. Just like some reverse psychology. I feel like he's going to play well in a big matchup at home. I would go AJ. I like JMO, and I definitely like him next week as a start against the Giants, again without Laporta. But I think this spot, I prefer AJ Brown slightly. If AJ underperforms once again, then I think, maybe eventually we'll get to that point where we bench him outright. But he's too good for me to leave out of the lineups. It's like at some point at home in a big game with the conference on the line, I would think you get your wide receiver one involved. I'll say A.J. Brown. Yeah. And Jake, just to follow up, if you're starting Flacco and you have Burrow, not that I want to trade Dart, but he will be coming back sooner. And if you have both Burrow and Flacco, then you can make that seamless switch from Flacco to Burrow when it happens without having to wonder when it's going to happen if you were to trade Flacco away. So Dart might fetch you more. That's all I'll say. I quite like Dart rest of season when he comes back. But he may, to that point, he may get you more than Burrow does right now because Burrow is further away from returning by probably a couple of weeks than Dart is. But at least you have Flacco in that scenario to hold down the fort. Let's see. This is 7-point receiving touchdown. These are crazy bonuses. I like it. I like crazy scoring. Quentin Johnston, Addison, Montgomery, DJ Moore, Parker Washington. Addison gets the Bears. I kind of like that, even though the Vikings offense has been up and down with J.J. McCarthy. Johnston, again, decent matchup against Jacksonville. I do not trust DJ Moore right now. He's not really involved in the offense. Parker Washington, tougher matchup, I think. So maybe not him. I'll say, and Montgomery against the Eagles on the road, that feels like a pretty tough spot. Since you get big plays for big catches and bonuses, I'll say the guys who can run down the field and make big plays. That's Quentin Johnston and Jordan Addison. Those will be my official suggestions from these guys, E111. Based on your scoring, these two, QJ and Addison, are the most likely to catch a bomb. I'll say them. Montgomery, I don't like the matchup. Moore is not involved. And Parker Washington, solid opportunity, but tough matchup. And I think it's fair to say he's, there's a tier gap break in talent between him and the first two names. QJ and Addison. What's going on, Bobby? Bobby, you can drop Jordan Love. Just drop him. His wide receivers are all banged up. He hasn't been performing. The offense has been struggling. I would just play Jacoby Brissett this week and next week, and we'll figure out quarterback maybe down the line if we need to pick up a QB2. Jordan Love can straight up be dropped. He is not in consideration for me at this time. But if you want to hang on to him, leave him on your bench. I would play Brissett. Jacobs, Javonte, Dowdle are all in. And then your two wide receivers are Jefferson and Rice. Yeah, play your first three running backs, play your first two wide receivers, and play Jacoby Brissett. I don't want to play Jordan Love. That Packers offense is not great right now. And yeah, Jones over Tez as well. I'll take the running back who's getting volume. I'll take Jones. He's clearly getting opportunities, more opportunities when healthy over Jordan Mason. And it's a pretty good matchup against the Bears. Yeah. I get it. I get hanging on to your guys. Um, I used to always want to have, the players on my favorite team on my roster. I don't if it happens, great. If it doesn't, fine. I want to field what I think is the best roster. And Jordan Love in one quarterback leagues, just he isn't giving you that right now. Maybe in a couple of weeks he gains a little bit of value back when Jaden Reed comes back, but he's coming back from a serious injury. Like, we're not 100% sure what we can expect from Jaden Reed. Dontavian Wicks is not that good. No disrespect. By NFL standards, he can't catch the ball. And Tucker Kraft is now lost for the season, which I think was probably the most significant loss for Love and this offense. You obviously hang on to Josh Jacobs, and Christian Watson is a solid flyer. So is Romeo Doubs. But, like, Love himself, I just don't think there's enough healthy options right now with enough experience where Love can regularly be relied on week to week. Yeah, Love can obviously he's a hold in superflex formats, but in one quarterback leagues, you don't need Jordan Love. Yeah. It's never personal. Remember that. This isn't about your favorite team and trying to diss on anybody or anything like that. It's never personal. It's strictly business. All right, let's come back up to the top because I think I got all member questions so far. But obviously, if anybody needs anything, just hit up the chat. All right, back up to the top. Should you pick up Jawan Johnson or Harold Fannin in full PPR? Is that for this week or like just in general? I would probably prefer. Well, the Saints are on bye this week, so I would prefer Fannin just because he's playing a game this week. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Like, I don't want to stash a tight end on his bye week. Unless you have a guy, like if you have Gadsden or somebody else who's on bye next week and you're looking to fill, you're looking to plug that spot in for your lineup. Okay, fine, but I don't feel the need to stash a tight end on his bye week. I would probably pick up Fannin. Who do the Browns play next week? Just like the Raiders. Yeah, I'll take Fannin. Who do the Saints have week 12? The Falcons. Actually, that's not a bad spot either, but I think I would still prefer Fannin. Yeah. Schultz, Knox, or Ertz with Laporta out. Ertz obviously continues to see expanded opportunities without Terry McLaurin. I do not love that the game is in Madrid, Spain. I don't like to rely on international games unless it's like superstars. But he is viable. Knox is touchdown dependent. He's tough to trust. And then Schultz has been pretty good. And it's a great matchup against Tennessee. I'll take Schultz. I don't mind Zach Ertz. Like, I truly don't. Like, Ertz is in a decent spot, and the matchup is really good against Miami. I just feel like the higher there's a greater likelihood that international games are flukier, are wonkier. It's a long trip. It's multiple time zones. It is not a home game for either team. It can be, it can be a little unpredictable with those extra intangibles. I'll take Schultz in a good matchup. It's a much closer trip from Houston to Nashville than it is from Washington to Madrid. So, I'll take what I feel like is the safer play, and I'll take Schultz. And I did check my connect. Thank you for calling it out. If I was sounding choppy or for having connection issues, I did check it. I think I'm all good, and I haven't seen any other. Maybe there was just like one gap or one delay, but hopefully it's over now. Trade question: trade away Gadsden, Swift, DeMercado for Tyler Warren and Hampton. Yes. Oh yeah. Like yes, do that now if you can. Like yes. As long as you don't need Gadsden this week, because obviously Tyler Warren is on bye. But if you're in, I mean, okay, you are 5-5, so obviously you do need to get a win this week, and Tyler Warren and Amarian Hampton are not going to be available. Warren not till next week, and Hampton not until probably week 13, so another 2 weeks. I love that return. I just would like to know, like, who are your options to get you through this week and next while you wait for those guys? That being said, I love the trade. I would love acquiring Warren and Hampton for that package. But I would like to know who are your guys that you're relying on this week if you do trade away Gadsden. Because he is a top 6 option this week. And if you're 5-5, obviously you're fine being at 500, but you're not going to probably with a record like that, you're probably not going to officially have a chance to lock up a playoff spot literally until the final, like the last couple of weeks. So I want to make sure that you're well protected from trading away pieces that can help you now in exchange for pieces that'll help you later. You want to make sure you're alive and in good shape for when those pieces return for you. So who are you playing this week if you were to trade away Gadsden? That's what I would like to know. But in a vacuum, yes, I want to do that trade. Flacco or Darnold? You're starting Higgins. So play Flacco. I mean, you get the stack, and I think it's a better matchup anyway. Pittsburgh's pass defense hasn't been very good. And the Bengals are coming off their bye, so they're rested. I would play Flacco. I would play Flacco and stack it up with Higgins. And then Woody or Odunze in the flex. I like Woody Marks this week. He's got a really good matchup. Odunze obviously has been a little disappointing, and it is a slightly tougher matchup on the road. I think because it's full PPR, I'll play Odunze. The difference between the two of them is I know Odunze is a full-time player. Woody is still splitting. He's taking more opportunities, but he's still splitting snaps with Nick Chubb. I'll take Odunze in full PPR. I'll take the wide receiver. The scoring is what changes it for is what is the difference for me. If it were half PPR or standard, I may say Woody, but because it's full PPR, I'm gonna say Odunze. All right. Where am I at? Tez, Shakir, Dobbs. Pick one for the flex. Tez is I think a good matchup against Buffalo, and he's got certainly a good opportunity. Shakir is on the other side of this matchup as Josh Allen's pseudo number 1 option and should get even more work coming his way with no Dalton Kincaid. Dobbs, I like Dobbs' matchup against the Giants. I think I'll go Shakir here, just for the reason that I think he's Josh Allen's wide receiver 1. And he should be seeing, Tez is going to see an expanded opportunity once again. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. But Shakir, he already operates as the wide receiver 1 for Buffalo. And again, now Kincaid is out. And they share a lot of those short and intermediate opportunities. So again, I would think even more work is headed Shakir's way. I'll take Shakir. I like those other 2 names, but I'll take Shakir. Okay, I got the member questions. If any members need anything else, just let me know. Flex Adunze, Kyron, or Pearsall. Probably Kyron. Probably Kyron. This is a huge matchup against the Seahawks. It is a tough matchup by the numbers. The Seahawks have a good defense, but the Rams have a great offense. I would think, I know Blake Corum has been very involved for the Rams the past couple of weeks. They have also handled their business the past couple of weeks, so I think that opened the door for more opportunities. This may be a closer game. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyron got, a little bit more of a bell cow role in this massive, massive divisional showdown at home. I kind of like Kyron. PPR, Adunze, and Pearsall are interesting, but it is Pearsall's first game back in almost 2 months, so I'll put him on ice for a week. And then Adunze, I do like Adunze. I think he's going to be just fine against Minnesota, but I'll take the volume with Kyron. He is a guy that you're probably never going to rank for lower than top 12 to 15 running backs on the week, so I want to play those guys. I want to play the running backs that I feel confident in, and I'll take Kyron this week. It's not a great matchup, but I'll bank on some volume. Let's see. Would I drop Brian Thomas for Alec Pierce? Not this week. Not this week. Let's see what Brian Thomas does first, because Brian Thomas is playing this week and Alec Pierce isn't. I get your thinking. You're trying to get ahead of of waiver claims. But what if Brian Thomas has a good game this week? What if Brian Thomas has a game closer to expectations that we had for him, based on where we drafted him this past offseason? I know it's been disappointing. I know it's been struggling, like he has struggled. I don't think I would drop him for a player on his bye week, because then if you do and he has a good game, now he's going to be the one on waivers that everybody's clamoring for when you already had him on your bench. I think it'll be easier for you to get Pierce this week because nobody's going to be clamoring for him while he's on his bye week, as opposed to dropping a guy who I know he's been disappointed, but he is playing this week. Let's wait and see what happens before we get rid of him. Oh, did I miss a question from Nino? I'm sorry. Where was that? Did I miss something? Or maybe I didn't. I actually don't see it. Hang on. I'm looking. Oh, sorry. There it is. My bad. Sorry about that. You're thinking about Isaiah Likely. My bad. I thought I saw this and then I must have missed it. My bad. Likely or Barner. Yeah, Likely I guess could see increased opportunities. No Bateman, no Justice Hill. Barner, yeah, slightly better matchup. Tough matchup against Cleveland for Likely. I would need to take a look at this. What have they done recently? Isaiah Likely has 10 targets in the past 3 games and has done nothing with it. Barner is in a good matchup. He did nothing last week. Of course, the Seahawks dismantled Arizona early. But he's actually been better. I would say Barner, E111. He's done more. That's pretty much it. He has done more than Isaiah Likely this year, and it is a solid matchup. And I know some of that is, Likely I missed some time at the beginning of the season, and then Lamar Jackson missed time, so it's been a weird, fluky season on offense for Baltimore up to this point. But nevertheless, Barner has simply done more. And, the Seahawks aren't going to blow out the Rams the way they blew out the Cardinals. Barner is going to have increased opportunities in this game compared to last week. I'll play Barner. Yeah. Sorry I missed that question. Thank you for flagging it. Okay, I got the Brian Thomas for Alec Pierce question. I got the Adunze Kyron Pearsall question. I am here. Would I trade Javonte for Justin Jefferson? No, probably not. You have Achane, you have Javonte, you have Jaylen Warren, you have Woody Marks, and then at wide receiver you have Nico Pickens, Olave, Pittman, and Terry. Yeah, especially since you just lost Dobbins. You are stronger at running back than you are at wide receiver, but I don't want to trade those running backs. Well, at least not for Jefferson. Jefferson's ceiling is not the same this year as it usually is. He is still excellent. He is still an incredible wide receiver and one of the best in the NFL. But J.J. McCarthy is essentially a rookie taking his first lumps, his first opportunities, his first steps at the NFL level. There are going to be, and there have been, and there probably will continue to be up and down performances from here on out. Jefferson will have his weeks. He will also have his other weeks where I think he will leave you wanting more. Javonte has been an RB1 for fantasy, and Jefferson doesn't have the same, the confidence level that he will dominate week over week is not the same as it has been in prior seasons. No, I would keep Javonte Williams. I would not trade for Justin Jefferson. Not for Javonte. Certainly not for Achane. If you can get him for like Jaylen Warren, then okay, fine. But even Jaylen Warren, I like his schedule for the next month or so to help you bring it home and clinch that playoff spot. Yeah. Wandale, Dobbs, Tet, Rachaad White, Debo, Trey Tucker. We're picking 3 in half PPR. I will take Rachaad White. He will get the yeoman's amount of work in the backfield with no Bucky Irving for at least one more week. I like Wandale. No Darius Slayton. And Jameis Winston is starting and he's gonna chuck it like the hero that he is. He may throw 3 interceptions, 2 of them may be pick sixes, but damn it, Jameis Winston is never gonna lose his love for being a gunslinger in the NFL. So give me Wandale, give me Rachaad White. I don't really want to play Debo in Madrid. Trey Tucker is in a solid spot to make a big play in a good matchup. Tet is tough to trust because the Panthers' offense is tough to trust, and I like the matchup for Romeo Doubs. It's a good matchup against a beatable Giants secondary. I think my answer is Dobbs for like a little bit more of a safer floor play. Tucker might be a little bit more of like he may have a little bit more big play upside to him, Trey Tucker. A little bit more of a deep threat, a little bit better of a matchup, but I think Dobbs is a slightly more complete receiver. Certainly going to get better quarterback play. I know I was just slandering Jordan Love, but he is easily and objectively a much, much better quarterback than Geno Smith. So Dobbs is going to get better quarterback play, and it's a really good matchup against the Giants in his own right. They're both in good matchups. I'll take Dobbs. I think his situation is better. Give me Rachaad White. Give me Wandale Robinson. Give me Romeo Doubs. I got all these member questions. Appreciate all my members. Appreciate their continued support. You're welcome. Pick 1 in half PPR. Woody, Tet, Shakir, Monangai, Tez Johnson. A lot of interesting names here. A lot of intriguing options. In half PPR, I like the matchup for Woody, but again, I'll go back to Khalil Shakir. I think he gets a boost this week. Him and Dalton Kincaid run a very similar portion of the route tree, right? Short and intermediate routes, run after the catch opportunities. No Dalton Kincaid. I think that necessitates more work, more opportunities for Shakir, for Josh Allen in a potential shootout against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll take Shakir at home, catching the ball from Josh Allen. Potentially more work coming his way with no Dalton Kincaid. I like all of those names. Definitely some good options to help with your depth the rest of the season. But I'll take Shakir. Stashing for the Gadsden bye. Fannin. I'll take Fannin. I like Jawan Johnson is solid. I'm just I'm not going to be able to trust. Well, I guess it's hard to trust the Browns offense too, but the Saints offense almost feels a little bit more challenging to trust. See if we got any new updates. DeMarvion Overshown for the Cowboys, not on the injury report at all on Monday. He may play the whole game. I did suggest the Cowboys defense as a contrarian, interesting streaming option this week against the Raiders with him back and also the trade of Quinnen Williams. Yeah, I'll take Fannin over Johnson. Yeah, Laporta injury. The Laporta injury sucks. That one. I don't think anybody saw that one coming. We knew he was out we knew yesterday he was out for this game, but now out for 4 weeks. That's brutal. If you have Goddard, I would not pick up any one of these guys unless, I would rather you pick up a running back or a wide receiver, depending on what your depth looks like. Since you already have Goddard, I think you can rock with Goddard as a top 8 option the rest of the way. He's catching a lot of touchdowns this year. You would think he could get 3 or 4 more before it's all said and done. I would rather pick up another running back or a wide receiver. Feel free to let me know who the names are that are available on the wire, and we could take a look. I'm not necessarily wanting to pick up any one of these guys. Maybe Dulcich for the fantasy playoffs, but if you have Goddard, I'm not ever. If you have a healthy Goddard, I'm not going to suggest benching him at any point for Dulcich in all likelihood. I would say pick up a running back or a wide receiver. Yeah. Was that the tight end question? It was like Schultz and Knox and Ertz. Yeah, I'll take Schultz. You have Pittman. He's on bye this week, right? Oh, okay, right. This was the trade question. Thank you. You'd play Schultz. Got it. Okay, we're good. You had Henderson. You have Kyron, so you're in good shape. I don't think that's a big issue. Okay, sorry. I had to refresh my memory. This is for the trade. Yeah, I'm not worried about the fact that you have both Pittman and Tyler Warren. That means you have 2 good pieces of one of the best offenses in the NFL this year. That's fine with me. Yeah, make the trade. Make the trade. I will. That's all I'll say. I think that's a great return for you. If you feel really confident that you're getting a win this week, and Travion Henderson is the catalyst for that, I'll make the deal. I'll take Warren and Hampton rest of season over Swift, DeMercado, and Gadsden. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll do that trade. I think that's great value. Well done. If you have Kamara for a bye week filler, would I drop Pacheco and pick up Corum? Sure. I don't know that Corum is going to get... Blake Corum has 25 carries over the past 2 weeks. He has been involved. But I also think those past couple of weeks, the Rams kind of had their games in hand. Yeah. They played the Saints week 9 and they smoked them, so Corum got more opportunities. And then last week they smoked the 49ers, so Corum got some more opportunities. I don't expect this game against Seattle to go the same way that those two games have gone. I think it's going to be closer for longer. It probably goes the distance. These are the 2-7-2 teams with the NFC West on the line. I think Kyren is going to have a Kyren game tomorrow, like most of the snaps, most of the opportunities. I like Kyren tomorrow. That being said, if you want to pick up Corum because he's healthy and Pacheco isn't, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Because even when Pacheco comes back, he hasn't been, he's a blah RB3. Oh, sorry. I need to get my member questions. Bobby's got one for me. Which player has the most value to stash rest of season? Burrow, Daniels, Hampton, Benson, McLaurin. I mean, Burrow, Hampton, and Benson all do. Daniels may not come back this year. And if he does, it could be short-lived. The Commanders are hanging on by a thread. Terry McLaurin, it's been a lost season for him. Burrow at least is coming back in a couple of weeks. He should be, really good. He should go back to being QB1 Joe Burrow when he's healthy. Hampton will go back to retaining RB1 opportunities for the Chargers when he's back. I'm less excited about Benson, but he should be the RB1 whenever he comes back for Arizona. I will say in a one quarterback league, Bobby, Hampton, then Burrow, then Benson. Then Daniels, then McLaurin. And you can argue Daniels over Benson just because he's dynamic and Benson is kind of a whatever. But Daniels, I feel like, is more of a shutdown candidate than Benson is. They'll play out the string, Arizona, with whoever's healthy, whatever young players they want to get an extended look at. And Benson, you would think, would be one of those types of guys. If it's a completely lost season for Washington, where in a year where Daniels has missed extended time on 2 occasions now, he may be shut down ultimately. So that's why I would put Daniels 4th of this group. Hampton, Burrow, Benson, Daniels, Terry. In that order from best to worst. And you just had a trade offer. Love, Jacobs, and Jefferson for, is that Daniel Jones? Who I'd rather have than Love. Chase Brown, who I'd rather have Jacobs, but that's not a terrible drop-off. And going from Jefferson to Ladd McConkey? That's interesting. I am lower on Jefferson this year than I normally am. I don't know if I'm lower on him to the point where I'd rather have Ladd McConkey. I would definitely rather have Daniel Jones than Jordan Love by a pretty solid margin, actually. Jones is on the best offense in the NFL. Love has been kind of disappointing. I'd rather have Jacobs than Chase Brown, although Burrow coming back makes Chase Brown a little bit more interesting. And I guess I think I'm okay. Actually, I think I'm okay with this, Bobby. You would be giving up your Packers. So you gotta make this trade. You have to decide if you want to make this trade with your head or with your heart. And I know that sometimes those can be difficult decisions to make. I think I would do this. Because I would rather have Jones than Love. I do think Ladd McConkey has been a top 5 wide receiver since week 5. Jefferson has been more of a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 since then. And Justin Herbert right now today is a lot better than J.J. McCarthy. So I think Ladd is in a much more stable situation than Jefferson is for this year. Maybe not forever, but for this year. I would make this trade, Bobby. I would do this. Yeah. I think you upgrade at quarterback and wide receiver, and I think you only take a slight hit at running back. Yes, I would make that trade. I would. You got to give up your Packers. That's the only thing. You got to give up your Packers. But I think that move would be a good one to take. If somebody offered me that for the package you have, I'm pretty sure I would say yes. Start 2, half PPR. ETN, Vidal, Harvey. Probably Vidal, just for the volume. I like Harvey, but Harvey's very, very interesting. Sean Payton does have a history of deploying multiple backs in his backfield, so I do not think Harvey necessarily. He's going to be the 1A. I don't know if he's going to be the bell cow. It wouldn't surprise me to see McLaughlin and or Tyler Bidet, somewhat decently involved tomorrow. I'll say Vidal for the volume. And then ETN, he's actually been ceding some opportunities to Bishal Tutin. And it's not a great matchup, actually. The Chargers have a good defense. I'll take Jacksonville is good against the run, but I'll take Vidal and the what appears to be guaranteed volume in a good offense in the Chargers. Give me Vidal. Okay. Now I will get to this question. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through member questions. Trade away Emeka Egbuka and Rome Odunze for Jefferson and R.J. Harvey. No. I mean, look, obviously Harvey just got a big boost rest of the way because Dobbins is out for the year. Or that's what it appears. That appears to be the case. I would probably move him up, Harvey, into maybe he's now something around the RB 17 or 18, somewhere around there. So he gets a half of a tier upgrade for me. I would rather have Egbuka than Jefferson. And I think I would rather have Rome than Harvey. Especially if it's full PPR. You have good running backs. You have Kyron. You have Javonte Williams. Your receivers are dope. I would be okay if you traded Rome. If you traded Rome for Harvey straight up, I think that's a little bit more palatable. I do not want to give up Emeka Egbuka for Justin Jefferson. I would rather have Egbuka this year than Jefferson. Oh, it's a start 2. My bad. I keep messing up E111. My apologies. ETN or Harvey? I want Vidal. I'll take ETN. He has been operating as the team's RB1. Let's see, since you yes, there are situations where I'm going to tell people start RJ Harvey this week. You, E11 specifically, you have other guys that I feel pretty good about. I feel solidly about. I'll play those guys and give it a week until we see what the Broncos backfield breakdown looks like without J.K. Dobbins. I'll take Vidal and ETN. Yeah. Thanks, Jakes. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. Full PPR, Taylor, Rico, Bucky, Judkins, hell yeah, and RJ. And then you have Rashee Rice. Okay, so your wide receivers are hurting a little bit, but honestly, not too bad because Rashee Rice is a stud. Bucky's coming back. You're definitely not trading Taylor. I really don't want to trade Rico. I don't want you to trade Judkins and RJ Harvey for Nico Collins. I think Judkins alone should be enough to take a shot on that. I don't want to trade. I don't want to trade both of those guys. I would rather trade one. I would rather try to do a 1-for-1 swap. If you could do Judkins for Nico straight up, I would feel much better about that. Don't trade both of those guys because then you'd be trading 2 running backs without getting one in return. And I don't like that as much. I think one running back, a guy like Judkins, who has been awesome for the most part this year. I know he struggled last week. I would think one of those guys is enough for one wide receiver. I'm not trading 2. But Judkins should get the job done. And I'm okay with you trading Judkins if you can make it a 1-for-1 because Harvey appears set to emerge and you already have anchors in Taylor and Rico and Bucky when he comes back. So try just Judkins for Nico. I think that's fair. I think that should be enough to get something done. Or wait, did you do a trade? Did you already do it? You went from Nico and Woody Marks for Judkins and Harvey. Okay. Actually, I don't hate that. You may have, obviously, you're running the risk. You traded Harvey before we got to see him without Dobbins. But you got a running back in return. That was what my initial concern was, you trading running backs away without getting one in return. So you got one in return. That's fine. You upgraded at wide receiver. You still have Taylor, Rico to play this week. And you could honestly play Woody Marks in the flex if you wanted to this week. Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm actually good with this. I actually feel okay about it. Judkins and Harvey feels like a little bit much to give up, but Nico is a top 12 to 15 wide receiver in full PPR, and you got a running back in return, and you've got good running backs already. I'm okay with this. If it went down. But I would, if the trade hasn't happened, maybe try Nico for Judkins, just that. But I would be okay with either variation of these deals. Let's see. I got the member questions. Just making sure. I missed E11 a couple of times. My apologies. I got to stay on top of it. I will be better. should you trade Khalil Shakir to acquire R.J. Harvey? Sure. I mean, if you're like you said, if you're light at running back, if your wide receivers are good and you could use another body at running back, I think that's fine. I think Harvey upgraded, obviously, with the loss of Dobbins, unfortunately. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. Shakir is a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 3 downside, an occasional wide receiver 1 upside. Harvey is an upside wide receiver or running back 2 with more upside now without Dobbins. I'm okay with that deal. If you can make it happen, I'm good with that. Bidet or Isaiah Bond are also guys that you could grab. Yeah, I mean, look, Goddard has been, I know his track record isn't great, but we don't want to, you've already lost one of your tight ends. I don't want to keep filling that void with more dart throws at tight end. I'd rather fill that void with a running back or a wide receiver. Like, Goddard has only missed one game this year. He's been a tight end 1 4 times, and he's been inside the top 23 other times. Like, he has been very, very serviceable. So much. I mean, he's the tight end 6 on the year in half PPR. I would not worry about, like, so far he's been durable this year. So far he's been solid this year. So I don't want to keep chasing more tight end dart throws to roster for the sake of a potential injury. I'd rather go after a position with a higher injury turnover in running back. Like, Bidet would be perfectly fine for me as a stash for this week, and if he doesn't do anything, then you can drop him for somebody else next week. Like, Bidet is totally fine for me as a pickup if he's the best option at running back. What's going on, Evan? Good to see you. Wilson or Calvin Austin? This is my first Michael Wilson question today, actually. I would have thought that I maybe would have a couple of more with his expanded opportunity tomorrow, since no Marvin Harrison, since he had was it an appendectomy or something like that? Was it, or is it yeah, it was his appendix, right? When it goes, it goes. Wilson or Calvin Austin? I'll take Wilson. I mean, he's got a greater opportunity as he's going to operate as a de facto wide receiver 1. He's not going to operate as target 1. That's Trey McBride, of course, but no Marvin Harrison. Zay Jones, unfortunately, tore his Achilles, so he's down for the count. I mean, we're down to Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and I don't even know who else. They might sign somebody off the street. I mean, Wilson should get a pretty solid opportunity tomorrow. I got to imagine at least 7 or 8 targets are coming his way. Austin is in a much more lackluster offense in Pittsburgh. It's a great matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know. I just don't trust the Steelers as much. They're such a predictable offense. I'll say Wilson with the increased opportunity. Give me Michael Wilson. Let's see. I got the Bidet question. You have Darnold, Flacco. Yep, go Flacco. McCaffrey, Kyron, nice. Jefferson, Pickens, Adunze, solid. Schultz, T. Higgins. Okay. You have 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, I would try to probably trade a quarterback. You don't need 3. If you start 1 quarterback, you only need 2 at the most. I would probably keep Flacco and Daniel Jones, and I would try to trade Darnold for anything. If you don't just drop him outright for some wide receiver or running back, I would rather have another running back on my team. Yeah, I just don't want to roster that many quarterbacks in a one quarterback league. 2 is fine. 3, I just don't want to. Oh, you haven't picked up Flacco yet. You would okay. Got it. They're not already on your roster. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just drop Darnold for Flacco. That's what I would do. But otherwise, no. I mean, the rest of this looks perfectly fine. The rest of this looks perfectly fine. It'll be interesting to see how Colston Loveland does tomorrow in a slightly tougher matchup on paper and with a healthy Cole Kmet. Will he continue to get more opportunities in this offense? Will his role continue to expand and grow? If it doesn't, he might be a drop after this week. Okay, I got the member questions. Lost Laporta. Steelers, Panthers, Dolphins to pick up. Barner. I'll take Barner for the Seahawks. He's been decent this year. He didn't do anything last week. That's because Seattle boat raced Arizona. They didn't really need to do a whole heck of a lot on offense. Didn't they get like 2? They got 2 defensive or special team scores. Like their offense didn't need to do all that much. Different story this week against the Rams on the road. Give me Barner. I don't want the Steelers guys. I know, and they're playing the Bengals. I know, I get it. I just don't, like, will it be Jonnu? Will it be Freiermuth? I don't know. I'm not sure. Panthers, no. Dolphins, no. Not in Madrid. I don't want to mess around with that. I'll take Barner. And another question from Evan. I see everybody's questions. I appreciate everybody's patience, but I got to get to the member questions first. That is, once again, a perk of being a member of the channel. You can find more details about becoming a member in the first link in the description of this stream. You have Warren on bye, Fannin on the bench, Musgrave, Freiermuth, Knox on waivers. If you're worried about Fannin, if you yourself are like, I don't have a good feeling about Fannin and you want to move off of him, I guess Knox is so like just touchdown or nothing dependent. Musgrave, I have a hard time trusting. He just, and the Packers offense in general right now is tough to trust outside of Josh Jacobs. Although I do like the matchup for their wide receivers this week. Freiermuth, like, same deal. Just, like, really tough to trust. I would probably go Fannin. If you are, is Theo Johnson not out there, Evan? He would be a little bit better of a stream this week with no Darius Slayton. I guess Cade Otton is probably already scooped up. Dalton Schultz, did he get scooped up? If the answer to all those is yes, like Schultz is not available, Otton's not available, Theo Johnson's not available, I would just stick with Fannin. It's not a bad matchup by the numbers, actually. No Johnson. No Otton. No Otton. What's the other name that I said? Dalton Schultz. I don't know if he's out there. If not, I would probably just rock with Fannin. I mean, Dylan Gabriel does seem to like to throw him the ball. I don't know if Gabriel's any good. He might not be. But Fannin has had some decent performances. Likely Dalton. Nah, I'll play Fannin. If you don't like it, if you yourself are like, I don't want to mess around with it. I just don't trust him. I'm just not feeling it. Dulcich is in a good matchup against Washington. I just don't want to play the guys playing in Spain. I guess if you have to pivot or if you really don't want to play him, I would probably play Fannin. But if you don't want to play Fannin, I'll take Freiermuth just because it's such a good matchup against Cincinnati. Yeah. Freiermuth if you really don't want to play Fannin. But I would probably play Fannin. Brian Robinson, Sean Tucker, Jaden Higgins, Michael Wilson, Keaton Mitchell. So Wilson is viable for this week. Higgins is interesting, but more of a deep, deep league stash. Keaton Mitchell is interesting. I mean, no Justice Hill. I might pick up Keaton Mitchell of this group. And if he doesn't do anything this week, you can drop him for somebody else. I might pick up Keaton Mitchell. No Justice Hill. Keaton Mitchell, is one of the fastest running backs at the position. I'll take, and I know it's a tough matchup against Cleveland, but I trust the Ravens. I trust Lamar Jackson. I'll take Keaton Mitchell. He should be the 2-minute drill, the hurry-up offense, the third down back this week. Like, he should be out there a good amount. I'll stash Keaton Mitchell. I'm always looking for a random running back that I can take a chance on for 1 week just in case. I'll take Keaton Mitchell. That's the guy that if you put Laporta on IR and you have an open roster spot, I'll take Keaton Mitchell without Justice Hill this week. And okay, yeah, let me know how these trade talks go, and if you can get it done, I would be in support of either one. And go Birds. Okay, yeah, dropped Darnold, and then yes, dropped Darnold for Flacco. I'm good with that. You need to start one running back, one flex between Harvey, Vidal, Charbonnet, and Christian Watson, and we're not picking up Tyler Lockett. No. I'm playing Vidal. It's not a good matchup, and I know the whole thing. He's been good on like even weeks, and he's been bad in alternate weeks. I'm not playing that game. Like, you just can't. You can't just go off of like, oh, he's only good every other week. We gotta. If he's showing you enough every other week, then we have to go to him every week, just in case. And Vidal has guaranteed volume. Amarian Hampton is still out. Najee Harris is out. Hassan Haskins is out. It's Vidal and, Jarrett Patterson. It's not a great matchup by the numbers, but it is a good offense. I would play Vidal. And then, Harvey, Watson, or Charbonnet, I would probably roll the dice on Harvey. We're expecting an expanded opportunity now with no J.K. Dobbins. Yes, it's possible that Tyler Bidet and Jaleel McLaughlin mix in a solid amount. But we've seen the big play upside from Harvey. Their offense sorely needs it in a massive, massive matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll take Harvey. Charbonnet is the Seahawks goal line back, but he's tough to trust with how much he splits the work with Kenneth Walker. And the Seahawks are not a great running team, even though they are a good team. And then Watson should be fine. He's got a high ceiling, but he's got a low floor. I think I would roll the dice on the running backs here, and a little bit more guaranteed volume. I will take Harvey, and I will take Vidal. Those are the guys I'm playing. Still Michael Wilson, Evan. I don't want to play. Sean Tucker's in a good matchup. No Bucky Irving, and maybe he gets a little bit more involved, but I would think Rachaad White continues to operate. I know Rachaad White hasn't been great, but he can catch the ball better than Tucker. This could be a shootout. And if the Bucs are trailing, Rachaad White's going to be out there, not Sean Tucker. I will take Michael Wilson. I got this one. Harvey and Vidal for me. You traded Metcalf for Tet and Woody Marks. Okay. I'm okay with that. Tet's a little frustrating right now, but it's not totally his fault. The Panthers' offense has been struggling, but honestly, so is the Steelers' offense. And then you pick up some running back depth in Woody, who has a good matchup this week and is absolutely could be flexed to this week, depending on your other options. I'm good with this trade. If you acquired Tet and Marks, I'm good with it. I don't like it as much if you acquired DK. Because you gave up a running back without getting one in return. But if you got the Tet and Marks package, which, by the way you worded it, it looks like you got Tet and Marks, then I like it. I like that trade. I like picking up the younger receiver with upside and some running back help. I like that quite a bit. I like that. Nice return. I think that's well done. I think that's a win for you. Yeah, good deal. Better quarterback start this week. Darnold, Tua, or Rodgers? Well, Darnold could be in a shootout against the Rams, and he gets to throw the ball to JSN, so I like that. Tua, he's in a great matchup against Washington. I just don't trust him. Rodgers is in a great matchup against Cincinnati, who are awful. I might say Rodgers, just because it's the Bengals. I think Darnold, I don't trust Tua. He's too up and down, and I don't want to mess around with the Madrid game. The only players in the Madrid game that I definitively want to play are Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle. I don't want to play anybody for Washington unless I absolutely have no other choice. And I don't want to play any of the other ancillary guys on Miami, and that includes Tua. I just don't want to mess around with the international game unless it's a stud, like Achane and Waddle. Darnold should be fine. It is a tougher. This is a big time tough matchup, division game. Rodgers is in a division game as well, but the Rams have a better defense than the Bengals. Hell, there are some college teams that might have better defenses than the Bengals. That's not totally true, but you get my point. The Bengals defense has been really bad this year, and they're without Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart. Rodgers, Steelers offense and their weapons aren't great, but this matchup is. I'll take Rodgers. Okay, I see everybody's questions. I will get to them, but I got to get to the member questions first. Evan asked Flacco or Davis Mills. Flacco. Could be a shootout. He gets to throw the ball to Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. Great matchup against Pittsburgh. Davis Mills is in a good matchup as well against Tennessee. I'll take Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. Pittsburgh gives up plenty of opportunities and work and production to opposing offenses. And then Debo or Michael Wilson. I mean, that might be the cutoff where I say, okay, fine, play Debo. I don't have a ton of confidence in Debo, but I guess he's, even in his advanced age, I guess he's better than Michael Wilson. Debo, I guess. I don't even feel that confident in it. Again, I'd rather avoid the international game. I guess Debo. I mean, I don't love it, but I guess Debo. Good to see you, E111. Thanks for popping in. Best of luck tomorrow. What's going on, Crumply Heads? Good to see you. Pitts, Otten, or Myers in half PPR? Jacoby Myers and one of these tight ends? Myers against the Chargers. Pitts in a good matchup against the Panthers. Otten in a potential shootout against the Bills. I mean, Pitts should be a low-end tight end one. The Panthers stink against opposing tight ends. I might say Pitts. I mean, Otten is a solid streaming option. Again, it should be a good match. It should be a shootout against Buffalo, or it very well could be a shootout against Buffalo. I'll say Pitts. The matchup is so good. Myers has a tough matchup against the Chargers, and is still probably getting acclimated to the offense. I'll take Pitts. If Pitts doesn't do it tomorrow against Carolina, then he can probably be dropped, to be honest, in redraft leagues. I'll say Pitts. Carolina stinks against opposing tight ends. Those are all the member questions again for now. Let's get back up to my spot in line. Chase. I mean, yeah, DJ Moore and TJ Hawkinson, there's, I mean, obviously knock on wood, there's not as much to be fearful of with that group. Obviously Lamar, J-Mo, and Jamar Chase are a little bit different. That's a little bit much, but whatever. See how things play out. Flex one in standard scoring. Higgins, Egbuka, Kyren. Oh, that's a good point. Is the weather in Buffalo not going to be nice tomorrow? Let's see. Sunday. Oh, wow, 20-mile-per-hour winds. Oh, wow, that could change things. Egbuka is such a stud, though. But standard scoring, obviously, he loses a little bit of that appeal, a little bit of that value. Kyren in a matchup where he should get the vast majority of opportunities in a massive, massive game against the Seattle Seahawks. Higgins in a huge matchup against Pittsburgh, and a favorable matchup as well against Pittsburgh. But standard scoring, I think I prefer Kyren over Higgins. It's between Kyren and Egbuka. It's a good call out that there could be 20-mile-per-hour winds in Buffalo tomorrow. Egbuka is a superstar already, so I don't want to worry about intangibles too much when it comes to a player like him. That being said, if you are worried about it, and because it's standard scoring, I'm fine if you go Kyren. I do not think Blake Corum is going to get as much work this week as he has the past couple of weeks. I do not expect this to be a blowout. I would expect the Rams to lean on Kyren, massive divisional showdown at home tomorrow. I'll take Williams in standard scoring, given the fact that it's, Egbuka could be dealing with 20-mile-per-hour winds. And then as far as the defense to start, Ravens against Cleveland, Falcons against the Panthers, Packers against the Jameis Winston Giants. All are good. I'll probably play Green Bay just because it's Jameis, and you can kind of have fun with it. Yes, they're going to probably give up points. Jameis chucks the ball a ton. He's probably going to throw for multiple scores. So, you may have to live with that. But if there is any defense where if I had to put money on them getting a pick six tomorrow, it's the Green Bay Packers because they are playing Jameis Winston. All of these options are fine. I don't have a problem with either one. I would probably play the Packers and swing for the fences going up against Jameis. Okay. KJ, Yucca, Matt, I see all your questions. I will get to them, but I got to get to the member questions first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. And Crumply Heads just dropped a couple of new ones in. Parker, Hopkins, or Kirk? Oof. Probably Parker. Parker Washington, right? I mean, Kirk does nothing for me, and I think that they're getting the rookies a little bit more involved, rightfully so. So I don't want to play him. Hopkins is, he's a veteran presence for the Ravens at this point, and he's not much else. I don't trust him week to week. Parker Washington is a little bit more of a mainstay now in the Jaguars offense. Travis Hunter is gone for the season. Brian Thomas is coming off of an injury. Jacoby Myers is only 2 weeks with the team. I'll take Parker Washington of these names, Crumply Heads. I think he's the safest of the three. And then Chris Rodriguez or DeMercado. I'll probably go DeMercado here. I don't feel super strongly about either one. I don't trust Washington's offense even in a great matchup against Miami. I'd rather not mess around with ancillary pieces in an international game. I just feel like the chances of the Madrid game being fluky are higher than your average game that is going to be played tomorrow here back at home. Give me DeMercado. He is the lead guy. That's what it appears to be for Arizona while we wait for Trey Benson's return. Bam Knight is a change of pace guy, special teamer. Michael Carter got cut and then elevated from the practice squad. Like I think he tumbled down the totem pole a little bit, the pecking order a little bit. I think it'll be DeMercado. San Francisco doesn't have a scary defense, not without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I'll take DeMercado. Give me Parker of those wide receivers and give me DeMercado of those running backs. And then Greg, would I drop Keenan Allen for Parker for a rest of season stash? Honestly, sure. I don't. They're both, they're both wide receiver fours at this point. Keenan Allen has fallen off since his hot start to begin the season. Parker Washington probably is a little bit more of a viable role with Jacksonville, a prominent role with Jacksonville compared to Keenan Allen at this point. So that's fine, Greg. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Dropping Keenan Allen for Parker Washington is fine by me. DK, JMO, or Wandale in full PPR. Wandale. Give me Jameis Winston's probable wide receiver 1 tomorrow. No Darius Slayton, and it's Jameis Winston. Need I say more? Nobody loves to play the role of lovable, happy-go-lucky gunslinger than Jameis Winston. He might throw for 3 touchdowns tomorrow. He may throw 3 interceptions tomorrow, one of them being a pick 6. But there's going to be a lot of volume. There's going to be a lot of passes. And Wandale should be the recipient of many of them without Darius Slayton. And especially with it being full PPR, I think that's where I would go. I think he's got an incredibly safe floor tomorrow. And if you think the Packers are playing with a lead because they're the better team, then they're going to throw even more, and Wandale's going to remain involved. I'll take Wandale. Okay. That does it for member questions for now. I think I'm here. Should you? Yes, you should not be rostering Joe Mixon. He's not going to play this year. If you're in Dynasty, okay, fine. You have to hang on to him and see, how this thing plays out. But in redraft, Joe Mixon is not. He's nothing. Like, if you're still holding on to him or Brandon Ayuk or any of these other guys that were like long-term stashes and holds and you're going to wait and see how things play out with injury, you can move on. Honestly, like Chris Godwin feels like he's in that territory too, even though he might be coming back sooner than later. Like, these guys are roster cloggers at this point. They are filling up IR with no hope that they will do anything of value for you at this point. There's been no updates on Mixon. Respectfully, I would have told you not to draft him at all. But I would have told you also to drop him like a month ago at least. Joe Mixon can comfortably, safely be dropped without looking back for anybody. Sure, you can throw Waller on there. Whoever's of IR eligible. If Pacheco got dropped, if Joe Burrow is still sitting out there, like anybody. Sure. Like the answer, like Waller, fine. The answer for Joe Mixon to take him out of your IR is anybody. Anybody who's IR eligible. Yeah, Mixon's cooked. He's probably not going to play this year. And if you want to hang on to Garrett Wilson for a little bit longer, I understand. But honestly, he's in that territory. He's not going to play until at least week 15. And maybe they shut him down at that point anyway. Like, are you really going to trust Garrett Wilson coming off of a 4-week absence? And honestly, it's more like a 6-week absence because he basically re-aggravated his injury without doing anything the week that he was active. Missed 2 games. Returned, did nothing because he was only able to play 19 snaps, and he's now going to miss another 4 games after that. Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson is a redraft drop. He will have basically not played in 2 months by the time you get him back, and by the time you get him back is going to be the fantasy playoffs. And are you really going to trust him then in a do-or-die situation with Justin Fields as his quarterback? I think it's okay to move on. I do. Let's see. You traded Javonte Williams for Kyren and Rashid Shaheed. Okay. I don't mind that. I'm fine with that. Picking up Shaheed and hopefully he continues to get an expanded opportunity in Seattle's offense. I mean, and you can try to trade for R.J. Harvey. Just know his value's up right now. You're going to have to pay top dollar. You're going to have to pay the price of a typical RB2. At least, if I was selling R.J. Harvey, the price just went up because Dobbins is done for probably the season. So I don't know what you have available to make a trade happen, but obviously feel free. Everyone's always free to. Always feel free to try to make the moves that you want to make to acquire the players that you want. Just know that the value changed officially, with Dobbins going on IR. And then Ferguson or Otten. Ferguson gets the Raiders. Otten gets the Bills. I feel like Ferguson has been really quiet recently since CeeDee returned to the lineup, and Pickens and him have been dominating opportunities. Otten, on the other hand, gets an expanded opportunity to a good matchup against the Bills with no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. It's a tough matchup by the numbers, but it's a good matchup in the sense that it should be a shootout. Ferguson, his past couple games. Week 9, he didn't really do all that much. Last week was the bye week. He goose-egged against Denver. He did have a huge game against Washington a couple of weeks ago. I think that was CeeDee's first game back, so he still played pretty well. Neither have a great matchup. I'll say Ferguson. The Raiders are very beatable. I'll say Ferguson. And with Otton playing in Buffalo and there's high winds, we eliminate that problem by just playing Ferguson, who I think they're playing in Vegas, right? There's no wind concerns in the desert. And in that stadium in particular. I think they can put a roof over it. I think they have a retractable roof in Vegas. So, and even if they didn't, the wind issues in Vegas are not the same as in Buffalo. I'll take Ferguson. You have St. Brown. Do you start Jamo or Addison? I mean, both of their stocks go up quite a bit without Sam Laporta. I would think that the Lions lean on them a good amount without Laporta. So I think because of that, I would go Jamo over Addison. It's a tough matchup against the Eagles, but I trust Goff more than I trust J.J. McCarthy right now. McCarthy is still taking his lumps. He's going to have his good weeks. He's going to have his down weeks. This could be a good week against the Bears. Their defense is an opportunistic one. I didn't realize this, but apparently the Bears' defense leads the NFL in turnovers, like takeaways. But they are susceptible to giving up scores in big plays, and they're still without Jalen Johnson, their starting defensive back, so that could be a break for Addison. But I think Laporta injury plus the confidence in Goff versus McCarthy week to week leans me to Jamo here. Expanded opportunity. More opportunities should be coming his way without their starting tight end. I'll say Jamo in what could be a shootout. I'll say Jamo over Addison. Yep. Jamo over Addison. Yeah. Both of those guys are, their floors just got much safer, much stronger without Laporta for at least the next 4 games. I got the member questions. You need a running back, flex, and 2 wide receivers. Jacobs, Genty, Judkins, Vidal, CD, JSN, Ladd. Holy hell. These are all really, really good options. Your running back should be Josh Jacobs because he's the best running back of this group. Your flex, I don't know what the scoring is here. Your 2 wide receivers, Ladd McConkey has been incredible, but you need to play CeeDee Lamb and you need to play JSN. You have to. Yeah, you have to play JSN. You have to play CeeDee as your 2 wide receivers. I would play Jacobs. And then between Genty, Ladd, Judkins, and Vidal, probably Genty, and just hope that he delivers in a good matchup against the Cowboys. Yeah. Jacobs, Genty, CeeDee, JSN. That's where I would go. A lot of good options. Start Darnold or Jacoby Brissett. Probably Jacoby. It's a good matchup against San Francisco by the numbers. Darnold could be in a shootout tomorrow against the Rams, but it is a tough matchup on the road. At least Jacoby's at home. He will be without Marvin Harrison tomorrow, so that does hurt a little bit. Darnold's in the better environment, the better situation, the better team. But he is on the road. He is on the road, and it is a tough matchup by the numbers. I'll say Jacoby Brissett, and hopefully he just funnels the ball to Trey McBride like 50 times. And that carries him through to a solid floor game. And it's a good matchup. Again, the 49ers defense is hurting right now. They, no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa. I'll take the matchup, and I'll take Brissett at home. I'll take Brissett at home. Let's see. Started Henderson. Nice. That you're well on your way to a good performance. Hopefully your opponent doesn't go haywire tomorrow. Would I take a risk and start Jaylen Warren over Love in full PPR in Superflex? That is an interesting question. And I've been, he's been pretty lackluster, Jordan Love has. It's tough to bench a quarterback for a running back in Superflex. Warren is in a spectacular matchup tomorrow against Cincinnati. Love is in a good matchup tomorrow, too, against the Giants. But, he pretty much is down to Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. We can't trust Dontavian Wicks. They don't have Tucker Kraft. They still are without Jaden Reed. I mean, they're pretty banged up. And the Packers' offense hasn't been good recently. I might play Jaylen Warren. Just because if it was any other defense, I would tell you to play Jordan Love. But because Warren is playing the Bengals, I think it's okay to play Jaylen Warren, to be honest. I think it is okay to take that risk. I do. And I know it's crazy. Generally in Superflex, the rule is play two quarterbacks if you can. But the Packers' offense has been lackluster. They have struggled. And Love has not been great. Warren has been very good, and this matchup is as good as it gets. I might take that risk. I might take that risk. Yeah. I might take that chance. And I saw that this was full PPR. My answer is the same. Jacobs, Genty, CD, JSN. You've got a lot of good options. Start your stud. Those are the studs of studs. Jacobs, Genty, CD, JSN. Play those guys. Do you trade Woody for Pearsall? Depends on what your running back depth looks like, but sure. I'm okay taking the shot on Pearsall. If it's half or full PPR, if you feel really strong about your running back depth and your wide receivers are hurting a little bit, then sure, take the wide receiver. If you are hurting at running back and your wide receivers are okay, then I don't want to do this deal as much. I want to hang on to my running back depth. So it depends on your team makeup. But I'm okay with, that being said, in a vacuum, I think I'm good with acquiring Pearsall. I do think he is the 49ers wide receiver one when healthy, even though he hasn't been healthy for like 7 weeks. But he's back now. I would be okay with acquiring Pearsall if your running back depth is already solid. And then in full PPR, I would go Rachaad White. I mean, I'll take the running back who I expect to get solid volume in a game that could be a shootout. The Bucks, when the Bucks have to throw the ball without Bucky Irving available, they're not going to Sean Tucker. They're going to go to Rachaad White. He's a better pass blocker, and he's a better receiver out of the backfield. I'll take Rachaad. Debo bores me. He doesn't even scare me. He just bores me. And Pearsall in his first game back, we'll give him a week. We'll give him a week. And then if Bucky Irving comes back next week, then you could put Pearsall in and take Rachaad White out. But I would play Rachaad for one more week while he has he may not have the backfield to himself, but he should have most of the snaps and opportunities in what should be a shootout tomorrow against Buffalo, or could be a shootout tomorrow against Buffalo. Give me Rachaad White. Trade question. Pollard, Coleman, Loveland for Kamara. That feels like a lot to give up for a guy who isn't really doing all that much anymore. And Pollard, Coleman, Loveland, these are all just kind of boring names, but it is a 3-for-1 for another guy who just hasn't been like that great. Like, I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine. I don't really want to acquire Alvin Kamara. He's older now. He has fallen off. The Saints' offense is awful. I mean, I get the thinking, but like Loveland could still like emerge. Kamara was the RB17 last week in a solid matchup against the Panthers. Now his schedule is great rest of the way, Kamara's, but he's got one touchdown on the season. Last week was his first game over with 100 scrimmage yards in a game this year. He hasn't had that otherwise this year. His matchups are good. Kamara just doesn't excite me anymore. He's a 30-year-old back on a bad offense. He topped out. He's topped out, I think, as like the RB17 this year. I just don't. It's hard for me to get excited about that one, and especially giving up 3 pieces. I'd rather just honestly stay put. I don't even want to make that deal. I don't want to give up 3 pieces for Kamara. I don't think he's worth that anymore. Pivot off of McPherson to Santos. I would probably pick up Pinheiro. Pinheiro's been good. And there's no weather concerns. They're playing in Arizona tomorrow. That's going to be nice and warm and dry, right? There's no funny business weather going on in Phoenix or Glendale. They're in Glendale, Arizona. Nothing, no funny business, right? It is raining there? Wow, it is raining there. But they're in a dome. They also are in a dome, so it doesn't matter. They can close that roof. I'll take Pinheiro if he's available as your kicker. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. And I appreciate everybody's patience as I work through these questions. If you need me to rehash anything, let me know. I'm pretty sure I've gotten everybody's up to this point, but let me know if you need any other context. Do you trade Swift, Loveland, and Tez for Harvey, Pearsall, and Theo Johnson? Yes. Trade Swift for Harvey. I like that. Loveland for Theo. Okay, fine. And you give up Tez to acquire Pearsall? Yes, I would do this trade. Yeah. You're getting rid of an asset in Swift that I feel like is a depreciating asset. Monangai has emerged in that backfield. Loveland I quite like, but he's splitting work with Cole Kmet and snaps and opportunities with Cole Kmet. Tez is solid, but I would rather have Pearsall. He's back healthy now. He's the 49ers wide receiver 1. Tez is not the Bucs wide receiver 1, even though he has been a good player for them. Yes, I would do this trade. If you are acquiring Harvey, the Harvey side, then yes, I would like to do this deal. I'm good with it. I'm good with that. I'd rather have Harvey than Swift. I'd rather have Pearsall than Tez. Loveland versus Theo, that's kind of a push for me. So yeah, I'll take the Harvey side. trade deadline. You have Baker, you have Dart. That's good. Achane, Kyron, Chase Brown, Henderson, Rashad White. I like that. Lamb, Rice, love that. Adunze, Wilson, Pearsall, Gadsden. I mean, Garrett Wilson can probably be... Garrett Wilson is pretty close to a drop for me. I don't know if I'm dropping him outright just yet, but if you need that IR spot, like, think about it. Anybody who's still holding Garrett Wilson, I mean, he didn't play for 2 weeks, and then he came back, and he played for 19 snaps before he re-aggravated the injury. He goose-egged. He didn't do anything on those 19 snaps in his return. Now he's on injured reserve. He's going to end up basically having missed 7 weeks of football by the time the fantasy playoffs start. That's when he would theoretically come back if the Jets don't just shut him down outright, which they absolutely could. It's an officially lost season for them. What are you going to do? Play Garrett Wilson in the first round of the playoffs, coming off of a 7-week absence, basically, with Justin Fields as his quarterback? It's going to be really hard to put him in your lineup, given all of that. Garrett Wilson is approaching drop territory. Honestly, if there's anybody out there that, like, maybe not anybody. If there's somebody in your league, like the top person in your league, the number 1 seed or whatever, who might be willing to take a stash shot, on a guy, maybe try to flip Garrett Wilson to the top seed in your league or one of the top 2 teams in your league, if it's not you, of course. And see if you can get like an RB5 or an RB6. Just get something. Get something usable for Garrett Wilson, and you can sell him as a playoff stash to one of the other contenders, one of the other teams in your league. And if it doesn't work, which it would surprise me if it did, but honestly, it doesn't hurt to try. If that doesn't work, you might be able to just drop Garrett Wilson outright. You're going against Henderson this week. I am sorry for your misfortune. I got somebody in my league traded for Henderson, didn't give up much to get him, and then I had to go against him as well, so I feel your pain. I have him in a couple of spots, so I'm happy about it, but then on the other hand, like, he traded for him just before our matchup, and I thought he didn't give up that much to get him, and then Henderson went off against me, and I was like, this is, it's like, this is freaking typical. As far as, so since you're going against that, you maybe feel like maybe you need to be kind of aggressive, right, and swing for the fences. Harvey or Marks, I mean, the upside play is Harvey. He's the swing for the fences. His floor might be lower, Harvey. His floor might be lower than Woody Marks is, just because we don't know how this backfield is going to shake out just yet. Tyler Bidet, Jaleel McLaughlin could get a little bit more involved than we prefer to see. But Harvey is the home run hitter, the big playmaker, and you probably need to swing for that a little bit more since you're going against Henderson's big night on Thursday. I would say Harvey. Marks is an interesting and perfectly fine floor play. It's a great matchup against Tennessee. It's just that he's still splitting work with Nick Chubb and opportunities with Nick Chubb. I'll take Harvey. Wow, Oklahoma beat Alabama. I missed most of that game. I know Ty Simpson threw a pick 6. Anyway, just getting caught up on my college football. Harvey over Marks. What's going on, Kevin? Good to see you. Smart to trade for Laporta in Dynasty. Sure, if you can. I mean, it's Dynasty. Laporta is a top 5 or 6 dynasty tight end. He might be higher than that, to be honest. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, it always depends on what you have to give up and what the ask is and what your situation is and what your tight end room looks like. But if you can acquire Laporta for a slightly discounted price right now, then sure, I have no problem with that. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Sean Tucker or Pearsall in the flex? Pearsall. Sean Tucker is the backup, and it wouldn't surprise me to see less work tomorrow. In a game where a lot of points could be scored, and if the Bucs are trailing, they're going to have Rachaad White out there, not Sean Tucker. Pearsall, I know it's his first game back, but Purdy's also back. We saw him operate basically as the 49ers wide receiver 1 in the games that he was healthy. It's a good matchup against Arizona tomorrow. I would, given the choice between Pearsall and a backup running back, I'll take Pearsall. Give me Pearsall. And which 3 would I start in standard? Jefferson, Rice, Kyren, or Igbuka? You have Igbuka out because of weather. That's fine, and I think that's what I would do. In standard scoring, Kyren gets a huge bump. I think Kyren's in for a nice game tomorrow. It's not a good matchup by the numbers, but I think it's going to be a competitive game all throughout. Massive game with the division basically on the line between LA and Seattle. I don't think we're going to see like an even split of touches with Kyren and Blake Corum. I think Kyren's going to be out there more often than not. So I like him playing, especially in standard. Rice, you have to play. He's top 5 rest of the way. And Jefferson in the Dome in a solid matchup against the Bears for just this week over Igbuka with the weather. That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. And there have been no new injury updates that I haven't already discussed and gone over earlier today. Really quickly, as we approach the end of the chat, or I'm getting caught up to the chat. This will be the final international game of the season tomorrow, an early game between the Dolphins and the Commanders. I will not be live for Start Sit Help tomorrow, but I will be around and online early in the morning if you need me for anything for last-minute thoughts. You can ask me a question in the form of a comment on this stream or any videos or streams on the channel. You can also join me in Discord, where I will be answering questions, if any, pop up tomorrow. Evergreen invite, second link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. You can join for free. I will be available during Dolphins Commanders to take questions over there if any last-minute start-sit questions pop up. Tua or Geno? Oof. I mean, I guess Tua. I don't really want to play either. I mean, Geno's in a great matchup against the Cowboys. But Geno has been awful this year. Tua hasn't been good either, but at least, he could throw the ball to Devon Achane. He could throw the ball to Jalen Waddle. I know Geno could throw it to Brock Bowers, but it's been a rough go of it for him this year. I mean, Geno right now is the QB 24 on the season so far. Tua is the QB 19. So Tua's been a little bit better than Geno. They're both in good matchups. I'll take Tua. Obviously, both are difficult to trust. I'll take Tua. I think he has one extra. Geno has one elite player to throw the football to in Bowers. Tua has 2 in Achane and Waddle. So that's pretty much it. That's what I'm doing. And what's this question? Who's the first name? Who is that? Or Algier? I mean, Algier's in a really good matchup against Carolina, so he's at home, so he could be fine. Who's that other name? Let me know who that other name is, and I can follow up. Pearsall or Harvey? This is where I would go Harvey. I do like Pearsall tomorrow, or I like Pearsall in general, but it is his first game back. I like him more than dart throws. Like, Sean Tucker's a dart throw, so I would take Pearsall over him. But Harvey's got a chance to be the 1A for Denver tomorrow with no J.K. Dobbins. I'll take the shot on Harvey over Pearsall for at least 1 week. I'll take Harvey. Oh, Spears. Tajay Spears. That's a tough matchup for Spears tomorrow against Houston. I like Tajay Spears as an individual talent. But this is a really, really difficult matchup for them. And he's splitting work evenly with Pollard. I'll say Algier. I will say Algier over Tajay Spears. And again, I like Tajay Spears. He's a talented player, but he's on a brutal offense, an abysmal offense, and he's still splitting opportunities with Tony Pollard. And it's a bad, bad matchup tomorrow against the Houston Texans, about as bad as it gets for opposing running backs. I'll take Algier at home against the Carolina Panthers. I'll roll the dice that the Falcons are playing. It's either a competitive game or they're playing with a lead in the fourth quarter at home, and they're giving the ball to Algier. That's what the Falcons do. When they have a lead at home, they're not giving the ball to Bijan in the fourth quarter. They give it to Algier as like their closer. So I'll take Algier over Spears. Keenan or Trey Tucker? Tucker. Keenan Allen has done nothing for like a month now. He has fallen way off. He got off to an incredible start this year. And since then, he's like fallen. Keenan Allen has fallen behind Gadsden in the pecking order. And I don't mean to make that sound like a slight at Gadsden. He's been incredible. But that's just my point. Keenan Allen is behind Ladd McConkey. He's behind Quentin Johnston. And now he's behind Oronde Gadsden. He's like fourth in the pecking order. Trey Tucker is going to be a starter in a great matchup. I know Geno hasn't been great. But at least Tucker should be able to make a couple of plays against a bad Cowboys secondary. I'll take Tucker. Tucker's got a much better opportunity, clear-cut, starter should see starter snaps and opportunities. Keenan Allen is a little bit more of a situational player. Wow, I just saw this. Keon Coleman will be a healthy scratch against the Bucs. Where was that trade for where was that Kamara trade? You were giving up Pollard, Coleman, and Loveland. Maybe it's not looking so bad now. I still don't really love Kamara, but you'd be trading a guy who is officially looking like he's getting benched in Keon Coleman. It looks like Coleman will be a healthy scratch for Buffalo tomorrow. It's interesting. Yep. Yeah, I'll take Trey Tucker. Back with one more, no problem. If I had to trade one, Rice, Ekbuka, Nico, Olave, Pittman. Olave. He's on the worst offense of these guys. That's pretty much all it comes down to. Good player, really talented player in Chris Olave. I'll take all of these guys. Their quarterbacks, their offenses, their overall situations are all better. They're all better. It's Dynasty. Probably still Olave. New Orleans is the farthest away right now from having a sure thing at quarterback, and they might fix it this offseason if they can get the number 1 overall pick or one of the top 3 picks, and they can end up with one of the top prospects, whether it's Mendoza, whether it's Ty Simpson, if there's somebody else that they like. But then, of course, that guy has to work out at the NFL level, and he's going to be starting in a pretty precarious situation next year. New Orleans is not great on offense right now. I mean, yeah, I don't want to trade Rice. I don't want to trade Igbuka. I don't want to trade Nico. I mean, Pittman would be the other one in Dynasty to consider trading. He's a little bit older. He's had some injury history. Not terribly, but, he's had a bit of an injury history. Pittman would be the other one, I guess. Olave, I think, is younger than him and probably still a better prospect long-term. But Pittman helps you win this year, I think, a little bit more than Olave does just because of how much the Saints offense holds him back. And I know he popped last week. He had a nice catch, long catch for a touchdown. I just don't trust the Saints offense week to week. I'm not chasing that touchdown. So, Olave or Pittman, but those first 3 names I'm definitely keeping. Tez or Debo. I'm not really feeling Debo, but I guess he's going to get all the work that he can handle. Tez's issue is the weather. We might have weather problems. We may have if we have 20-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow in Buffalo, that's going to be that's going to be tough to navigate. That's going to be tough to deal with. I guess Debo. I guess Debo. I had to think about it for a second. I guess Debo. Doesn't have wind issues to deal with. Dak or Lamar? I mean, probably just have to play Lamar Jackson. He's Lamar Jackson. I know it's not a good matchup. I mean, Dak's in a great matchup against the Raiders. But I mean, it's Lamar. It's Lamar, and I know it's not a good matchup against Cleveland, but it's Lamar freaking Jackson. I have to play Lamar. I have to play Lamar. Charbonnet, Monangai, or Pollard. Charbonnet. At least he's the goal line back. At least he's the goal line back for Seattle. So you're just kind of hoping that he falls into the end zone. Monangai is still, he's a little tough to trust, and it's a tougher matchup. And Pollard is playing the Houston Texans. That is the worst possible matchup for opposing running backs, and the Titans' offense stinks. I'll play Charbonnet. You just hope that he gets on the goal line for Seattle in a big matchup against the Rams. I'll take Charbonnet. Pick one for the flex. Tez, Michael Wilson, Pearsall. I'm inclined to say Tet. He hasn't been great. But this is a spot where, the Falcons' defense is up and down. It's in a dome, so there's no weather concerns. Tet should get a wide receiver 1 target share. He should get one every week. If Pearsall wasn't coming off of like a 7-game absence, he would probably be the name that I suggest here, but it is a little tough to trust him after basically being out for 2 months. I'll say Tet. I like Tez, but the weather could be an issue in Buffalo tomorrow. And Michael Wilson, he's getting an expanded opportunity out of necessity, not necessarily because he earned it. Tet is already his team's wide receiver 1, and he's not coming off of a 2-month absence like Pearsall is. I'll say Tet. Nix or Caleb, this is clear for me. Bo Nix has not been playing well, so I don't want to play Bo Nix. Caleb has been playing decently. It's not a great matchup by the numbers against Minnesota, but Caleb has been better than Bo Nix, so I'm just going to keep riding that wave until Bo Nix shows us something. It's been a struggle over the past few weeks for him and the Broncos offense, so I can't advocate for him right now. I can't advocate for Bo Nix right now. Caleb's been better. I'll play the guy who has been better. That's Caleb. You have Nico, Devontae. I would tell you I would probably just plan to play Jaylen Warren most weeks. His schedule is awesome, and Olave is Olave is a great individual player. The Saints offense is impossible to trust every week. We can of course make matchup based calls each week, but I would plan to play Jaylen Warren as many times as you can over the next 4 to 6 weeks. His schedule is very good. I think it's more like 3 to 4 weeks, actually. I think his playoff schedule is a little tougher. For the next 3 to 4 weeks, Jaylen Warren is a guy that I want in my lineup. And then Stafford or Flacco. I mean, I don't know how you can't. I don't think you can go away from Matthew Stafford. He's been the best. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He's in the MVP race. He's in the MVP discussion. I mean, yeah, Flacco's in a good spot, but Stafford has been lights out this year. You have to play Stafford. You have to play Stafford. And then Wan'Dale or Tet. This one's also clear for me. It's Wan'Dale. Jameis Winston is in. He's going to chuck the ball 50 times. He might throw 5 interceptions, but he's going to gunsling it. And Darius Slayton is out. Expanded, increased opportunity for Wan'Dale in a game where the Giants are 7-point dogs. They're going to be throwing the ball. Wan'Dale's going to be heavily involved, especially without Slayton. And Jameis is going to chuck it. Jameis is going to chuck it until the cows come home. So I will take the volume. I will take Wan'Dale. It's a tougher matchup for Tet, tougher to trust in that offense. I like Wan'Dale quite a bit tomorrow. I'll play Wan'Dale. Don't see any new updates as far as like any new injury reports. Yeah, there are none. Okay. I guess that might do it. We are at the end of the chat. I'll hang on for another couple of minutes in case there are any last-minute questions. We'll be shutting down here shortly. But I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out this evening. Again, one more time, no Sunday morning stream because there is one more international game tomorrow, the Dolphins and the Commanders from Madrid. I will be available in Discord to answer any last-second questions if you guys want to join in. If you're a part of it, great. If you're not, Evergreen invite, second link in the description of this live stream. It is a free invite. You can join and ask questions over there, or you can hit me with any questions in the form of a comment on any videos on the channel. Aaron Jones over Tracy for sure. Better matchup, better player, more confident that he has a 1A role. Tracy splits with Devin Singletary. Not Tracy, Aaron Jones. And I'll just you just followed up. Bench Tracy. Just that's easy for me, to be completely honest with you. Bench Tracy. Aaron Jones is a better player. Gets 1A opportunities. Tracy splits with Devin Singletary. Woody splits with Nick Chubb, but Woody looks like the better player right now, and he's in a much better matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Like, that's a very, very favorable matchup for Woody. I'll play the matchup, and in Woody, and I'll play the better player in Aaron Jones. Bench Tyrone Tracy. He can comfortably be left out of your lineup. Okay. Just want to give a quick thank you to all of my members that I saw today. I saw Greg. I saw Nino. I saw Jake. I saw E111. Thank you for your patience. I know I missed a couple of things initially. I saw Bobby. I saw Crumply Heads. I saw Evan. And I think those are all of the members that I saw. Yeah, those are all of them. And Kevin. I saw Kevin as well. Sorry about that. Kevin popped in and asked a Dynasty question. That's right. Yep. Those were all of my members. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. And everybody for coming in and hanging out this evening to talk shop, talk ball. Obviously, best of luck tomorrow in Week 11. We're in the critical weeks ahead of the fantasy playoffs, so we need to get those wins and clinch those playoff berths. I will be back on Tuesday for waiver wire help and any general thoughts ahead of Week 12. I can't believe we're talking about Week 12, but we are here. 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. I'm happy to talk shop then based on the fallout and what takes place this weekend. But I think that'll do it for me tonight. You guys know how to find me. Ask a question in the form of a comment on any video or join me in Discord. You can find all details in any description of any video or stream on the channel. Best of luck tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for your time and your patience. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, all.